And so because of this, these questionnaires don't fully reflect what we think about in this context, in the South African context, or in the context of an emerging economy. So we decided, let's come up with our own tool from scratch. So I had focus group discussions with people from low, middle, and high income backgrounds, and we discussed the factors that drive people's food choices. And sure enough, we saw some similarities, but also some differences between the factors that drive food choice in our context and those in the global north. And some of these included, for example, how people in the global north will think about health is in a health positive way. So they will talk about things like, I eat food that is nutritious, I eat food that supports the health of my hair, skin, and nails, I eat food that supports my weight goals. Whereas when I had conversations with people in this context, it was more about, I know what I need to do, I know what healthy food is, but this is why I'm not doing it. These are the constraints to healthy eating. And these included things like, I find it hard to change poor food habits, unhealthy food usually tastes better, I value the taste of food more than how healthy it is.
Very interesting. Healthy, unhealthy food tastes better, not really. I want to speak about the affordability factor, because this obviously also plays a very big role in terms of what people can afford. Maybe you would want to eat healthy, or you'd want to eat differently, but you think you can't afford it. Also, South Africans, and I think the whole of the actual African continent, are big meat eaters. Was this something that you also picked up?
Yes, the importance of meat is also something that came out quite strongly in my research. Meat is very important to us. People mentioned, so some of the statements that came out were, I'd rather buy cheap meat than not eat meat at all. A meal with no meat is incomplete. It is important to me to eat meat at least once a day, which is quite different to the global north that is currently moving towards eating less meat for sustainability goals. Whereas for us, it's still, people still aspire to be able to have meat every single day.
Yes, definitely. That's definitely true when it comes to the South African context. I want to ask you, in terms of the issue around affordability, but also emotional eating, how much of that influences what you put in your food basket?
Yeah, so affordability was quite a huge factor, especially when I was speaking to people from low-income backgrounds. I'd ask them, what about sustainability? What about health? What about everything? Went back to, it's either I buy whatever I can afford, I buy whatever will last me till the end of the month. That was something that was very important. And yes, emotional eating as well. We are emotional eaters. And for that, there were statements like, I eat junk food when I'm stressed. I crave sweet or fatty food when I'm moody. I eat when I'm bored. So yeah, especially when one is in a stressful situation, that also contributes to that. So we are emotional eaters, and yeah, that did come out in my research.
I'm not surprised it did. Just lastly, Nomzamo, what would you say people in South Africa eat the most? I know there are many different cultures, and for example, I'm Greek and we like to eat bread, but I've tried to stop eating bread because I don't find it healthy. But I'm curious to know what is except meat, what people eat the most or incorporate in their diets here in South Africa.
Okay, so I didn't really collect data that speaks to what people eat exactly. It was more about what drives their choices. But I can say people eat what they can afford, and what makes them feel good.
Okay.
What keeps them full and for longer as well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Thank you so much for your insights and sharing your research with us. We do appreciate it. That was PhD candidate Nomzamo Dlamini from the University of Pretoria, chatting to us about her research and what she's found in terms of what drives people's diets. And South Africans definitely love to eat meat. She said that people would rather buy cheap meat than not eat meat at all, which was very interesting. And we're emotional eaters, which I don't think is much of a surprise. That leaves it for South Africa tonight.